up now. And that's my cousin Christine Townsell, who's standing at the back door with her arms folded. And I'm not sure what all she's holding there, but she has a presentation that she's been working on for, I know, at least 6 years. And I'm not sure where she is with it, but she tells me it's still not quite completed. And we're going to move forward here. And be patient with me. It may get to be a little bit long, but the best is yet to come, I promise you. Okay? Chris, if you will come forward. She promised me this will not be long. Now, this presentation, I believe, is in reference to a real family. None other than the what? Harper family. It had to start someplace. And it started with who? Richard and who? That's right. Now, will we teach our kids who Richard and Abbie was? Because I'm still trying to figure it out. Every time we do one of these, we get bigger and bolder and better and more beautiful by the moment. One of my cousins said to me during a conversation, he said, I invited all my kids here. I told them they had to come see where their good looks came from. He said, I told them they think they came from the Greens, but they really came from the Harpers. As I look around, I think we have a good dose of each, don't you? I know they have. There's some good-looking people. Hey, this man that brought them here, Mr. Green, who better? And who better looking than Jerry Green? I heard he was a Rolling Stone one day. I think he still is. He's the father of 15 kids. And he tells me they were by 2 women, and they were all within wedlock. He said, I told him, Mrs. Green better be very careful. Yeah. She's sitting next to him laughing and bowing her head at the same time. You're right. Okay, Chris, without further ado.
Good evening, Harpers. First, I'd like to give an honor to God, and I praise God for getting us to this point. Who is Abbie Harper and Richard Harper? I started my journey out, and my sister told me in 1996. I haven't attended a reunion since the Fort Wayne reunion. I had a ball. I played the drums. I met everybody. I enjoyed meeting Uncle Ed at that time, Richard E. Harper, who was an uncle of my mother. And he had told me at that time he brought all his books. He had maybe about 10 or 12 books, school books with him, that he had just graduated from college or just graduated from high school, and he was at the age of 82 or somewhere around there. He was an older guy, and I was so impressed with him. I took a picture of him. But that was fun. Back to 1996, my sister said, who is Abbie and Richard Harper? We always start our family tree with Abbie and Richard Harper. So now I did research. I have gone everywhere except you leave here. I didn't bring my form, but I'm going to pass each table a piece of paper. I need you to list your family, who you are, the parents of you and your children and grandchildren, just your immediate family. I need that information from you. I have put our family on the internet, on the web, the Harper Family web, and I have typed in over 200 names so far, and they keep giving me, it's a worldwide web, and there are a lot of Harpers. Richard and Abbie Harper. Children, please listen. If you are older than 70, raise your hand. Please raise your hand if you're older than 70. Older than 70. Well, children in this room, young adults in this room, get to know these people, talk to them. There lies our history from them of our family. Thank you. Abbie's name was Abbie Curry. That was her maiden name, Abbie Curry. Richard Harper was born into the William T. Harper family. William T. Harper was a slave master in Perry County, around Marion, Alabama. He had a family, and on his family, his children were, listen to the names, Benjamin Harper, William Harper, Thomas Harper, George Harper, James Harper, Francis Harper, Robert Harper, Nancy Harper, Mary Harper. Those names sound familiar? Yes, because we took on a lot of those names. Benjamin, Mary, Francis, William. That was our beginning. Richard, I have a book here. He was on a census document in 1880 as being a member of the William Harper plantation. He was born it's in my book, off the notes.
Take your time.
He was born in 1827. He died August the 12th, 1897 at 56 years old. Abbie Harper, known as Abbie Curry then, married Richard, and she was born in 1846 in Perry County. Abbie died at the age of 63, September 4th, 1917. The children were, of these two, were Hattie Harper, Eliza Harper, I'm going by memory, Leander Warren Harper, Ben E. Harper, Richard E. Harper. Those were the children of Abbie and Richard. Within the children, I talked to Artelia, and I believe her mother was Martha. Before Artelia passed, I had a very spirited conversation with her. She told me she was 90-something years old, and I was telling my husband, well, I rounded off to be about 95 years old. Artelia had a son, and I knew her sister as a child. When I was a little girl, I called her Maddie, and I knew her sister then. I have never met Artelia, but our conversation was very spirited, meaning that she had me laughing because she used words that I have not heard of, and I will not repeat. But she was very funny on the phone. I had to take the phone from my ear. So I had the opportunity to talk to Artelia. The reason why I believe that we're here because of Leander Warren Harper. He was the oldest child of Abbie and Richard Harper. He had 13 children. They all had large families. I have a scrapbook listing all of the children and you'll see some photographs of some of the people that I've gathered. But what I wanted you to know, to sum it up, is that our background was very humble. We came from the plantation. I had a great guru to help me, but she's like 85 years old now, and she'll tell me a story one day, and I'll write it down, and I'll come back to repeat the story. She'll say, I didn't say that, it's not like this. And that's Elsie Harper Mitchell. And so as you talk to each other and the older people in the room, make sure you jot down things that they say so that we can kind of match notes and be a little accurate. But Abbie and Richard came from the William T. Harper plantation. That land is still here. I've taken pictures of the house where I tried to get Quinn to think about this house. As a child in Marion, I saw a big house that was Francis and Ben Harper's home that I called, it was a big house because I was short enough to go under the house and play. Francis had lemonade there for me, real cold lemonade, and it was just such a warm place. But when I went back, I'm saying the house was burned down, and he said, no, the house is still there. The house was smaller, but I can remember it was just so much fun going in the country to this home. And so we went to the house, and the only remnants of Frances Harper, there's a picture that her name, I guess it was her name on the mailbox, was there. Now, here's how I got to the point that I am now. I started my venture by calling around Perry County, Marion, Alabama, Montgomery, Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama, trying to find notes about our family. There are some more Harpers that are connected to us. I think they have a separate family reunion, but I met one of them in Cincinnati, Ohio. His name is Calvin Harper, and he's trying to connect us together down here because there's some relations. I haven't found that yet, but there's some relations there. However, During my research, I called the public library in Marion, Alabama, and the conversation went like this. I said, I am calling, my name is Christine Townsell. I'm in search for my family. I'm looking for a Richard and Abbie Harper, and I believe they live in Perry County in Marion, Alabama. The lady at the county department told me that she didn't have any information on that, but she said, there's a lady here that comes here all the time, and maybe she does a lot of research on families, so maybe she'll help you. So I said, okay, give me her number. She said, no, she's right here. So I said, okay, and the lady came to the phone, and I said, hi, my name is Christine Townsell. I'm interested in finding my family, Richard and Abbie Harper. So she said, oh, are you a colored Harper or are you a white Harper? I said, well, I guess I'm the colored Harper. And so she said, well, sure. She said that my family knew Ben and Frances Harper. They were good, they had good children, and they all went to school, and so I was interested. So she said, give her a call. So with Bertha Hoggle was her name, and she helped me find the white owners of the plantation that Abbie and Richard came from. So she really helped me. Well, that wasn't enough for me. I had to take a trip down here. And last summer I had the opportunity to take a trip to Birmingham, Alabama, and Greensboro, Alabama, and Marion, Alabama. And I had a great time with Uncle Bill, Willie Harper. And there was a reason for that. We sat on the porch and he just helped me with his side of the family, and I enjoyed that. So I traveled down with Johnny Long, my mother, and my sister. And because there's so many documents, you have to have birth certificates. The work is just so massive that I was getting frustrated there. And she said, well, what are you looking for? I said, I'm trying to find a marriage license, land on something about the Harpers. And so she said, well, look in this book. So I said, well, what's your name? She said, my name is Bertha Hoggle. I said, you talked to me on the phone. I've never met you. So that was the lady who I talked to on the phone who was helping me by phone, and I just happened upon her in that courthouse looking for records. And so I got the chance to meet Bertha Hoggle personally, and I took a picture with her. Now, I am at the point, I have a tree back here. The tree lists 4 generations, starting with Abbie and their children, their children's children. 4 generations. I need your help to continue documenting our family. In my scrapbook, we come up out of Africa. We came to Marion, Perry County, Marion, Alabama. I have to go to Montgomery, Alabama to find out, because that slave, I believe, is Richard Harper's mother. And that's listed in that document. He owned property, and he sold off his property. Property meaning human beings and horses and cows and corn and all of that. That's in that book, the original copies. You can take a look at that. That is in that book. I have the 1880 census of Richard Harper, his wife, and all the children that lived in the house at that time with him. There was a niece named Belle Plant who was 15 at the time. That's in that book. You ought to take a look at those documents. I have listed in the book Leander Harper and all of his children. And when that document was put in the books on record, Queen Esther Harper was 1.5 years old. Also, the names. I drove my mother crazy trying to figure out the names, because in that document is listed Fike, it's listed Augustus, it's listed Jimmy, it's listed names that I could not match together. I think because of our dialect. I think Fike became Folks, if I'm pronouncing that right. And I believe Augustus became Gus, if I'm pronouncing that right. And then Leander, he's listed. So please take a look at the book before you leave this evening. In our household, we celebrate Kwanzaa. And with Kwanzaa, I always do a portrait of black women. But tonight, I'm going to do a portrait of the Harpers. raise your hand, but I believe you can since I teach, I talk loud. I'd like to start with the unveiling of, and here's another, I just want you to know, like Jonell has said, I've been researching for about 6 years. This year, my mother said, oh, I have a picture of my grandmother. Guess who the grandmother is? Abbie Harper. I'd like to unveil Abbie Harper. She was a slave on the William T. Harper plantation. This is Abbie Harper. And you young people, I was telling my children, I felt so good because you learn about slavery in history classes, but you never connect until you can find something that's tangible, something that you can hold, you can visualize. You're a part of this. And this is Abbie Harper, the lady who celebrates every reunion. This is she. I also would like to unveil her eldest son, Leander Harper, the eldest son. I also like to, let me know what I did. I did make that's fine. Oh. This is her other son, Benjamin Harper. These are the only pictures that I have because we need to know how they look. Benjamin Harper, they will be on the table. The next son that I have a picture of is Richard E. Harper, World War I picture. And the only living survivor of Lee Harper's chain is Elsie, Virginia, Marcellus Harper Mitchell. Send me a picture so those pictures can be in my book. If you have pictures of any of Abbie's children, Martha, Hattie, any of them, Gus, I need a picture of them to put with their mother. If you have pictures of Alice Harper, Lee's clan, Ben's clan, their children's clan, please let me have copies and the history. If you have little stories to tell, there are a lot of little stories, and then after I tell you this, I have to tell you this, because driving down with Johnny and my mother last summer as we were going down this little country road, they were talking so much and tell us so much information. So I just had questions, and I was taking shorthand about things that they were talking about. And some of the things children are with Abbie, Johnny Long's mother and JD's mother and all of the other children, she lived with them. And they told me that sometimes they use flour sacks. They wash them out, use flour sacks. Johnny also made a point because the roads, where I was looking at the dusty roads, he said that they used to have to walk to church on the red dirt road, and he said the white folks would come past and blow up the dust on their clothes, and they're just going about their business and didn't even pay any attention to them being dirty and they're going to church. He also told me about, I said, well, what did you all use for toilet paper? Well, but all that information was they, what, Lloyd? He told me sometimes dried corn cobs. Yeah, dried corn cobs. And I said, well, how was your house made? They said it was 2 rooms. The chimney, I believe, was in the back, and a room over on this side, and a room there. I want to get a diagram and make that, put it in our book. And they cooked around an oven, a stove, wood stove. I'm picturing potbelly stove, and a fireplace. See, I need all of this information. Look at my mother. She's saying, I know she's saying, you got something wrong. But we'll talk about that later. So, he told me much more. It was just a pleasure being with Johnny. And you know what? We got here and we did not really, actually I didn't know where I was going. And he volunteered, no strings attached. I want to go here, I want to go down this road. It took me forever. I had him going in the backwoods, trying to find that house that I had in my head as a child, your grandmother's home. And he was going through woods. We went on a construction site, and it was just so massive that he was very patient with me. He was patient with me from courthouse to courthouse. And oh yeah, I had to get out, and I told him I wanted some dirt to take back. And because when I used to come down here as a child, I used to eat it. It was so sweet to me. And my brother Sandy dubbed me Dirty Red. So I really enjoyed it. And Johnny, I know that you may have thought that I forgot about your generosity, but I had not. And I wanted to pick this opportunity to show you how much I appreciate you and what you did for us and your help. I also have him in the book and our research. So without further ado, I want to give you a hug. And my sister and I brought the country to you. So first let me have a hug. See, I told you he was generous. He was going to take my hug. Yeah. Johnny, here's the country. Thank you so much. Before you take this, I just wanted to read. I had written it down. We did this expression for you. Everything in here was thoughts about you, things that we think you like to do. But everything we could think of that came out of the country, we went crazy today. It's Ecclesiastes 3rd chapter, 1st verse. For everything there is a season. Yeah. That's the place you put your stepping door in your garden. Okay. Thank you, Alon. We love you. Okay, again, I am very excited about my project, and I just ask for your help in writing down the names of your family, and if you have any pictures, scan them, get them to me. The sooner I get information from you, the sooner my book will be finished for us. I think it was Jonell said that you had to want to do it anyway, and I have been working on it. I need to get it completed, so please give me your help. I love each and every one of you. I'm so excited being here. I could go on and on, but I'm going to stop because we have something else to do. All right. Workers can talk.
Well, this is the day that the Lord has made, and we are really rejoicing in it. Without further ado, I would like to present a young lady. Everyone knows her as a sister, a sister-in-law, a mother, an aunt, a great-aunt, a grandmother, a great-grandmother. Harper family, I would like to present to you the only living surviving Harper, Mrs. Elsie Virginia Marcellus Harper Mitchell. Would you come forward, please?
Good. Don't drop it. Don't drop it.
Tribute here to honor you being the only living surviving Harper. great-grandsons have seen the Lord.
Harper, we like to do this because after this one is gone, the tree of our immediate Harper family is gone. But we live on. So at each reunion, while she's still here, give the flowers while she's alive.
Bravo!
That is why we chose to do this tonight. I see her with the cane. I told her that she really wants to pretend that she's really the oldest one in here. So, Mom, we love you, and give us all.
First, I want to say thank God that I had 8 brothers, 5 sisters, and God kept me for a reason. I don't know what, but God knows what He has in plan for me, and I thank Him. I thank Him for sparing me to be here, and I'm so happy to be here tonight. Words just can't say. Yeah.
Ren, put on the table with her.
Thanks, Chris. That was a beautiful job. Could you please give her another round of applause, please? And on that note, I'd like for my immediate family to